All right. So here is something curious with respect to persuasion and also with respect to in general how to behave, because there's a lot of people who don't know how to behave, and a lot of adult people really. You'd think that most people who didn't know how to behave were kids, but no, we're talking about adult people. Stalkers. So, in this latest of stalking news, I heard this story about some guy, I think it was aged 49, 49, 48, something like that, who'd now been convicted for stalking some Doctor Who superstar. I forget the name of the woman, but some attractive woman who was playing some sort of a character in Doctor Who. And the dude had been, well, obviously sending her lots and lots of social media messages, didn't quit. He actually wrote messages to no, he actually wrote letters to both the woman's mother, her sister. He wrote a handwritten 18-page letter. He then dressed up at some social gathering event or some meet and greet session as as somebody else, only to be caught with his pants down. Hopefully not literally, only proverbially, but still. And then he had the nerve to go back and change and get caught again. So obviously this creep is vile. And this is what happens when you attract a certain kind of people. People who never give up, people who justify their erratic behavior for why they can abuse the relationship or the social contract and the norms that there are. And going by the looks of this fella, he looked like a creep as well. He had this look, this creepy looking look, like this. So, like some sort of a psycho. He was balding. He had part of his hairline was hair, and hair. That's where he had his hair. Hair and hair was his hair. That's pretty funny. And but on the top of his head there was nothing. He was balding. Pretty much the inverse of me. You know, I do have hair, but it's not very long, and I'm shaving it off every single week. But then I have this little stripe of hair, precisely where a lot of men actually do lose their hair. Not because I want to prove a point, but because I like it like that. Anyway, there is something to be told for appearance and behavior, because a lot of the people who dress nice, who act who dress nice, who look nice, who actually take care of themselves, and you don't need to wear a suit and tie. You can just wear ordinary clothes. But if you're about yourself, if you shave, if you cut your hair, if you otherwise look normal and healthy and proper, then there is something about that which builds attraction. And attraction, irrespective of sexes, actually. Now, in this dude's case, if he just shaved off everything, shaved his hair, because mark my words, I'm gonna do that. If I'm balding, if I notice that my hair is falling off, or that there's a bald spot right here, and that it's spreading, then I'm gonna shave everything off. Then I'm gonna rock being a skinhead. That's fine. I prefer having hair, but I'm not gonna be so desperate that I have these bald spots going for me, because it's, quite frankly, it's hideous. But it all builds together with this lack of appearance, or bad appearance, whatever you want to call it. And so that's why there is a case for being judgmental. There is a case for exercising prejudice. There is a case for exercising your belief in somebody based on their appearance, because a lot of times they're interlinked. I've yet to see anybody who looks proper, who's not obese or overweight, and who dresses well, who actually can't behave or does something terrible. I've yet to see that happen. But I've seen plenty of times people are sloppy looking, overweight, don't train, don't exercise, don't take care of themselves, who can't simply behave in public. Let that be the persuasion lesson of the day. If you want to learn more about persuasion, then get subscribed to my email list. The link to do so is in the episode description wherever you're watching and I will listen to this, and I'll see you there.